Is this the average male fantasy? Oh, hi boys. Let's see if we are really cooked. How down bad are we guys right now? By ShoeOnHead.
Men.
Yes.
What do they want?
I don't
Money,
know.
status, fast, expensive cars.
According
What
to Andrew
is the
Tate.
ultimate male fantasy? Is it fame, fortune,
Boobs.
3 hot chicks at once?
Exactly. Yes.
Hell yeah, brother.
Exactly.
No, according to men on the internet,
Oh, sorry.
it's something a little more simple.
This is an anime, right? So, I've not seen this, but I think this is an anime that is about a guy and a girl who can't walk, who essentially fall in love, right? And a lot of people, by people, I mean women, are very unhappy with this idea. And she's probably going to talk about this, assuming. And they were essentially saying things along the lines of, if you're into this, it's kind of like a fetish rather than just a normal thing. Just doing the typical narcissistic thing that these people like to do.
This is literally just a fetish. I fucking hate men so much. Men are why we can't have nice things.
See? Fucking told you. I knew it. Always the same
As I was
shit.
working on an upcoming video, I made the terrible mistake of logging onto Twitter, where I saw this post.
Oh boy.
A montage from the anime Josie, the Tiger, and the Fish, a movie about a college student who is assigned to take care of a paraplegic girl, and spoiler, eventually they fall in love.
Yeah.
Many men were
close enough.
posting in the replies of this tweet and talking about how they wish to fall in love and would love a relationship like this, while many others, mostly women, were absolutely f***ing disgusted at this. Why would a bunch of men be fantasizing about being with a woman in a wheelchair? Seems pretty creepy and predatory, right? Also just unrealistic and problematic. Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about why so many men resonated to that clip and this movie, and why so many people are so confused as to why.
I think it's also important that I think age definitely plays a factor in fantasies as well. So, like, the fantasy of a 23-year-old isn't exactly the same as the fantasy of a 33-year-old, right? So, a part of me is curious to the guys who were saying this on Twitter to see how old they are. But I think as like a general rule, age definitely plays a factor.
We are also going to be reading some absolutely unhinged tweets, as usual, to get to the bottom of why such a wholesome post turned into, once again, another battlefront for the ongoing, never-ending gender war. Men versus women, women versus men, the male loneliness epidemic, the female loneliness epidemic, the dealing with dating apps. Do men prefer thin women or curvy women? Brunettes or blondes? Do
And
women like
narcissism.
dad bods or fit men? Do they like beards or clean-shaven? Oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's quickly get into today's sponsor, Henson Shaving.
Oh god.
You ever just accept that some products are just garbage? Like, for years, I thought ripping your tights on the first wear was just a part of being a human woman. We just accepted that. That's just how it is, sweetie. But that shouldn't be how it is. It's a bad design. And that's why I like Henson Shaving. Because if you've ever used a multi-blade razor, you're probably sick of the irritation, the razor burn, the overpriced...
So here's the thing with shaving, right? Personally, if I shave this, like all this here, I look like this, right? Yeah. Like, this is how I look. Like, it's actually, like, you don't, like, I'm ugly now, but if I shave, oh boy.
Blades, and you probably think that's just the way it is. But it doesn't have to be how it is. Thanks to Henson Shaving. Henson Shaving is on a mission to improve shaving, with no gimmicky subscriptions or moisturizing strips, but with real innovation and a focus on your skin's health.
What's the
what really
catch?
sets Henson apart is their engineering, with their Henson AL-13 safety razor being manufactured in an aerospace machine shop that built parts for the International Space Station. This precision allows the blade to extend just 1/1000th of an inch beyond the shave plane, less than the thickness of a human hair. The razor prevents any bouncing or skipping, resulting in an irritation-free shave every time. And here's the best part. Once you invest in a Henson razor, it's a lifetime purchase. The only thing you'll need to replace are the blades, which literally cost only 10 cents each. So once you own the razor, you'll be spending like $3 to $5
Okay, but how much is
on
the main
blades,
thing?
compared to the ongoing cost of buying expensive plastic cartridges. Henson's store offers a variety of colors and even a titanium
you could just
version,
use a
so you can
knife
pick
if
the
you're
razor
a
that
real
best fits
man,
your style.
right?
So if you're tired of razor burn and
kitchen knife and
overpaying
just
for
fucking-
blades, now is the perfect time to make the switch. Just head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and add both a Henson razor and the 100 blades to your car, and then enter code SHOE at checkout to get the 100 blades for free
$116
with your purchase. Your skin, your wallet, and your environment will thank you. Big thanks to Henson
I don't
Razor
even think
for
I've got that
sponsoring
in my
this video,
bank.
and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. You didn't skip the ad, right?
No.
Now let's get back to the video.
No. I promise I watched
Now,
all of
I
it.
am not an anime
I'm a good boy.
connoisseur. In fact, I basically know nothing about anime. I am
Same.
probably the most tourist of all the tourists.
Boys, I've got to be transparent here. I tried watching Attack on Titan. People always told me, if you're going to watch it, if you're going to try out an anime, it has to be Attack on Titan. I tried watching it. I fucking hated it. I truly hated it. Like, the entire first season, the main guy was just whining like a little bitch the entire season. And I haven't watched it since. I think I'm just turned off by the entire genre now.
Yeah, hi. I have a question. Was the upskirt shot necessary in order to advance the plot? I watched Pokemon and Sailor Moon when I was a kid, and a few years ago I watched Beastars.
I haven't ever watched Pokemon.
Legoshi, best boy.
Furry?
Not furry, by
Yeah.
the way. And honestly, that's about it for my anime consumption.
More
Unless
than
you're
me.
counting VTubers. If you're counting VTubers, I watch a lot of anime. But because of this clip going viral, I watched Josie the Tiger and the Fish, and, well, I thought it was a good movie. I recommend watching it. I thought it was a really cute, good story. I only cried a little bit, and I completely understood what the
You
tweet
cried?
meant by
Who-
calling it the
who
average male
cries?
fantasy. So, what was wrong
All
with
men
it?
are just
Why
perverted
did this clip
fantasies.
go so viral in
Of
such
course.
a negative way? Why were thousands of people angry at this post? Well, let us dilly-dally no longer and read some of these angry replies to get a better understanding of what the issue is, shall we? Wholesome male.
I'm going to give just a quick take on this, right? It's because men are not allowed to have preferences, and men are not allowed to have a fantasy. It's either a fetish or it's sexism. That's it. That's men. But on the other hand, a woman can fantasize about bear sex or vampire sex, yeah, and it's completely normal. A guy, nah, wrong, weird. I eat
Male
shit.
fantasy, and it's fetishizing a disabled girl for him to control. Oh.
What?
Oh no.
That's right,
They
guys.
think-
If you're
oh god.
disabled, you aren't
Why?
allowed love.
Always vulnerable, always happy.
You're just a
always needs
fetish.
You. Pretty perverted. Where are these fan fictions coming from? There were like hundreds of tweets just like this. Why did they see a cute montage of a happy couple, a man and a woman happy, together? I know. unheard
Because
of.
their
Why
boyfriend
did they see
cheated
that
on
and
them
then
about 2 years ago, and they hate
immediately come to
all men
these
because of it.
conclusions? Like, as someone who actually
And they're
watched
insecure
the
about
movie,
themselves.
Josie is not always happy, and she's absolutely not portrayed as some like vulnerable ooh-woo sex doll waifu. She's boisterous, she kind of has a foul mouth, she's very sassy and headstrong, she like straight up calls him her servant, but she was also very depressed. She basically never left her house. She was basically a girl failure. As a former girl failure, I love to see representation in media. But
What's
they
a girl
actually
failure?
show her disability, like,
What defines that?
not in a good way. Like, they don't romanticize it, they don't sugarcoat it. And I noticed, unlike a lot of movies, unlike a lot of romance movies, at least like the Hallmark kind, where it's like the stuffy male lead learning to live life from the quirky, cute female lead, he's already got his shit together. And she learns to live life from him. He encourages her to live her dreams, and in return,
Well, that's
he
like a common
learns to live life in a
fantasy,
completely
isn't it,
different
amongst
way.
both guys
And I
and
thought that
girls? It
was
always
really
has been.
Cool and sweet.
Like Princess
also, the animation
and
was really good.
the knight in shining
Have
armor.
I been sleeping on anime this entire time? His fantasy is that she becomes permanently disabled and helplessly dependent on him, but can still make him a sandwich. Sounds about right.
What?
Oh my god. After watching the movie, these tweets are even more insane. But even putting the movie aside, just seeing that like cute montage out of context, where the fuck are they getting this? These are very clearly just two happy people.
Again,
but
they just
because
don't
the
like men
caption was
because the boyfriend
average
cheated
male
on them 2 years
fantasy,
ago.
their mind immediately goes to the darkest, worst faith interpretation
Trauma,
of this.
that's why.
The problem is these people can't see any humanity in men. They can't see any humanity in humanity in general. Average male fantasy equals girlfriend with no agency who's completely physically dependent on you and forced into blanket subservience and compliance. Sounds about right. You males are weird for fetishizing physically disabled women. Average male fantasy is having a physically disabled girl that they can abuse however they want. Got it. Not to be that guy. I'm gonna be that guy. The infantilization of the physically disabled here is a little, dare I say, ableist. The implication here that people in wheelchairs cannot find love, and if they do, the person who loves them literally just loves them because they can't run away. Weird.
That's it. Zegla. She's like the face of these kinds of people, right? The girl from the Snow White film that failed. Massively failed, by the way. They have like this deep hatred for men and just guys in general. And if you say that you're attracted to a girl who has some kind of a problem, here comes the women and the feminists. You only like her because she's disabled and it's just a fetish. But the way that they perceive these girls who have these problems is in a way that it's almost like they view them as being inferior. So like a guy has to look down to date this person because she's got some kind of a problem. Like, and she's absolutely right. It is ableist. Of course it is. But these people don't see it that way because they're fucking stupid. like it's that simple.
Average men can't even be nice to their healthy and normal girlfriend. What makes you think they'll be able to handle a disabled person as their lover? Whoa. Normal? What do you mean by normal? These people are just so ableist, chat. Can you believe it? Chat? I don't even live stream. Who's chat? I'm disabled, blind, so I showed this to my boyfriend. He says, I love you because you're you, and you make my days happier. So what if I have to drive you places or help you with cooking and cleaning? I would have done that anyway. Disability has nothing to do with it.
Aww.
I love you. Ma'am, I don't know how to tell you this, but, your boyfriend is a rapist. Sorry, you had to find out this way.
That's it.
You show this as fantasy because it's not true for the majority of men who participate in abuse of disabled people. No, the fantasy is the woman appreciates his efforts to make her happy. Stop lying and abusing women and the disabled. Your meds, schizo. You don't even know that f***ing guy. What do you mean stop abusing women and the disabled?
Every guy
Who are you? Also,
is
the majority
abusive.
of men participate in abuse of disabled people. Are you okay? The majority of men are not abusers. That is a very, very small minority of men.
Yep.
The majority of men are men that just wake up, take a shit, get out of bed, take a shower, go to work, come home, and wait for GTA 6 to come out. That is the majority of men. Men commit 95% of all but
guys, now, I'm a man, clearly. Now, I wake up, but I cannot say that I wake up, I take a shit, and then I get out of bed. Usually I wake up, get out of bed, and then take a shit. I don't know what she thinks a guy does, but I think she might be a little bit mistaken on this point. Let's see. Men commit 95% of all rape, but okay. I don't think that's accurate.
Okay. Barging into the romance section of Barnes & Noble like, attention everyone! Rape! Where is that coming from? So close, this is fetish content. Ah,
Yeah.
yes, the dirtiest, most taboo of
You aren't
all
allowed
fetishes.
to,
a happy relationship.
to like a
Honestly,
disabled
in 2025,
person.
that might be true. Oh, you want a wife and kids? You sick fuck. But this is literally just a perverted fantasy, LMAO. You think it's a perverted fantasy because... How do I put this nicely? You are a pervert. Literally seeing a cute montage of a male and female character having fun together, being in love together, and being like, rape! He's a...
Nah. I don't think it's just because they themselves are perverted. I think a reason for it is they're trauma dumping on the internet. That's what they're doing. Either they have problems with their dad, or their ex-boyfriend cheated on them, or a guy from their high school called them fat and ugly. And now they hate every man. And every time they see something about a guy and a girl, they have to try to villainize the man in some way and try calling him a weirdo, a creep, and a rapist. That's about right.
A rapist! This is a fetish! Are these people okay? Stop watching
No,
porn.
they're not.
Wait, this is a woman.
Wait.
Okay, stop reading Taken by the Werewolf Billionaire.
No. It's not Taken, and it isn't the werewolf billionaire. It's a girl having sex with the werewolf himself. And I'm not talking about the guy version. No. I'm talking about after the moon change. After he turns into the big bad wolf, that's when girls are into the romance. Big werewolf, woman. Yeah, that's their fantasy. Completely normal.
Or whatever the fuck you read. I swear to God, some of the shit women read
Yep.
would make the most depraved internet gooner blush.
Yeah.
Or so I've been told.
Bears it.
This is literally just a fetish. Okay,
Course.
listen, I'm not gonna pretend there's nobody out there who's like, she
Well, yeah, of
can't
course
run
there
away,
is.
she has no legs. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend there's nobody out there who
Well, yeah,
has
of
a
course there is, but
crippled,
that's like
disabled fetish,
small
okay? I've been on the
percentage of
internet for
people.
20 years. I've been on DeviantArt. I've seen shit you wouldn't believe. But the majority of people, probably most, if not all the people responding to this, do not have a cripple fetish, okay? In fact, her being in a wheelchair basically has nothing to do with it. Much like how females coom over, like, vampires or, like I said before, the billionaire werewolf
Or bears,
fantasy.
or
This
tables,
is just
or
the
fridges.
average male fantasy distilled down to its most extreme. So what is the average male fantasy? The average male fantasy is the fantasy of both men and women alike. It is simply to love and to be loved. But more specifically, the male fantasy is to be a protector and a provider for those that they love. Put a pin in this because we are going to come back to this in a big way, trust me. The average male fantasy is being a...
So, I do have something to say about that, but since she's going to come back to it, I will talk about that point when she comes back to it. But I do think there is some context that we kind of have to add, and we have to split up certain groups. Because I don't think all guys fantasize about the same thing. I think age plays a factor. The things you tend to watch every day play a factor, etc. Right?
globally known terrorist. The average male fantasy is that a woman who isn't fat. The average male fantasy is actually job security.
So, I mean, it's not a fantasy to not want a fat girl. By the way, I'm going to be the one who says it. She's the person who commented that is probably fat. But it's not a fantasy, it's a preference. It's like, you like guys who are taller than you. You like guys who have a full head of hair. Guys don't want to date a fat bitch. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's a preference, not a fetish or a fantasy. Come on. The average male fantasy is actually job security. That's partially true, I guess, sure. I mean, why would a guy want to be broke and poor?
You know what? These guys may have a point here. Pedophile alert. Men want
yes.
disabled child wives. Average male fantasy is a disabled child.
Where the fuck did child come from?
More proof that men are pedos. That's a little girl. This is weird. So
When
first
did
of all, she's literally older than the guy. The
How
guy
old
is
is she?
22 and she
Okay.
is 24. In anime years, he is practically hag maxing. And yes, she may be physically disabled, but aren't all men mentally disabled in their own special way? At least the ones in my
Hey,
audience.
no.
They will freely admit this. Maybe
No,
she,
I'm-
the older
I'm
woman, is
completely
taking
normal.
advantage of this sensitive young man. Have you ever thought of that? She looks like an 11-year-old child. Where are her breasts? First of all,
So you need to have
really
big tits to be a
weird way
woman?
to say that. She looks like a child. Show me her titties. Also, I love how like when anime women have huge boobs, it's disgusting, Coomer porn brain or
Yeah,
whatever.
and if you have
but if the
small
anime woman
boobs,
has
they're
small
children.
boobs, she is a child and you're a chimo. Can't fucking win. Also, if she had big boobs, they'd absolutely be like, wow, look at this sexualization of the disabled. Also, you know, like adult women can be flat-chested, right? Like that
Exactly.
actually exists in real life. Like adult human
Unfortunately,
women can
but,
have
you know.
small boobs. We love all titties here on the ShoeOnHead channel. All titties is good titties. End of story.
An ad. I agree, kind of. Listen, I'm fine with all titties. Girl titties, by the way. I'm not talking about guy titties. Ugh, nasty. But some sizes are preferred, right? Like, big are preferred over completely flat. Come on, like...
Fancy new razor.
But there probably are
Arriving
some
today
guys
with
who
pine.
prefer small tits, sure.
That's off.
Women fantasy. A boyfriend with depth and the
Yeah.
loving, soft, deeply caring side of them.
Shut up.
Men's fantasy.
Shut
12-year-old
up.
anime girl who looks and speaks like a toddler. Also,
Shut up. No, a girl fantasy is bare sex. What are you talking about? Liar. Lying little...
notice how she's literally the shape and size of a child.
Yeah, of course
Yuck.
she is.
Have you people ever seen a child? No, you're all childless.
But it's
Silly
hot.
me. She's not even that short. She's just sitting. See, like when they're laying side by side, she's like a full-grown adult woman.
Yeah.
Why do these people look at this and immediately think of child rape?
Because
Go
they
to
hate men.
therapy. And listen, I know with anime it can get a little weird, right? Like,
It can.
excuse
Like-
me, Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan
like
is
the lolly.
2,000 years old, and this is Poo Poo Pee Pee Chan. But
Yeah.
this does not even look like a child. This looks like a cute woman. This is like a random rant, but I feel like there are no more cute women nowadays. You know what I mean? You have all like the Insta baddies, the e-thoughts, the e-girls, the muscle mommies, the boss babes, the boy babes. But I feel like every woman is just
Them
hot
boy?
now.
Them
Which, by the way, I
counts.
don't think is healthy for the male psyche whatsoever. You shouldn't wake up and be able to scroll through pictures of like the hottest woman you've ever seen in your life like 20 times before you've had like your morning cup of coffee. You shouldn't log in and immediately be one-shotted by 10 tens all
Boys. Now, I don't know how this happened. I really don't know how this happened, but every time I go onto Instagram or to TikTok, my entire page is just like super hot girls from South Korea who are cheerleaders, who are dancing. Now, I don't know why that's always on my for you page, but I mean, you know, preferences.
day, as if that wouldn't make you go insane, as if that wouldn't make you crash out. Like back in the day, you'd probably see like one fine dame on your bus ride to work, and you'd think about her for 40 years until the day you die. That's how it used to be. That's how it should be. Now every woman is like a crazy, hot, unobtainable Instagram goddess with the fattest of ass. Zoomers don't know how
And
good we
filters.
had it. You'd go to Blockbuster, and the 21-year-old cashier
Blockbuster?
behind the
Jesus,
counter
that's
would be
old.
the most adorable woman you've ever seen. No Botox, no lip filler, just a pure soul, full of joy and whimsy. And now women are full of hate and SSRIs. But they're hot. They're hotter than they've ever been. They're hotter and more depressed than they've ever been in history. Sad. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, anime. I didn't take my Vyvanse today, could you tell? Men's fantasy. A big titty woman with the face of a 16-year-old that is useful for cooking, cleaning, and sex. Women's fantasy. Gets treated like a queen and
Yeah.
a man who keeps tracks of our periods so he can take care of us.
What?
I think I speak for a lot of women here when I say our fantasy.
I know what she's going to say. I'm going to say it first, okay? If you walk up to a woman, like to your girl, and say, do you want help with your period? They're going to tell you to fuck off, right? I bet that's what she's going to say. You watching? Watching.
Fantasies do not, in fact, include men tracking our periods. Personally, if my husband
See?
was like, honey, just a reminder, you're in your luteal phase, I'm taking the kids. Men like to pretend they want this, and then they beat their wife when dinner isn't ready, or their son when he's misbehaving.
Jeez, you're like
First of all, I'm sorry
60
that
years
happened
too
to
late.
you. But there are in fact good men out there. I've seen them. Some may be in this very audience. Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face. This is the ShoeOnHead audience. You're all gremlins. Male fantasy
I'm not a
equals a woman
gremlin.
that can't
I'm
run
a
away
cave
from
troll.
him. A woman that's dependent on him. Interesting. When
Yeah.
men are involved, it's basic survival instinct to assume the worst. Men are guilty until they prove themselves innocent. You know what? I take my opinions back on free speech. I changed my mind. No more free speech. No more free speech until you bitches learn to behave. A woman's fantasy is a man who won't rape her, and a man's fantasy is raping a woman.
That's
I'm sorry,
dark.
where is the rape, ma'am? Maybe that's how you see it, because you're brainwashed to hate men. So true. I hate how... But in reality, women are the real demons here. Oh, god damn it. We just want a happy relationship. Is it so much to ask for? Yes. Yes, it is. Oh look, more misogynistic gooner fantasy
There
slop
you go.
written by misogynistic gooner
Yep.
men. This is why 70% of anime is garbage. So here's
always
the thing,
is
that
misogynistic.
misogynistic gooner fantasy slop written by misogynistic gooner men was actually written by Saiko Tanabe, a woman. A woman wrote this story. And I feel like a very important detail everyone is sleeping on when they covered this was the fact that this is very much the female fantasy as well. A man loving you for who you are despite your flaws, literally sweeping you off your feet and carrying you around on adventures, helping you live out your dreams, face your fears, and supporting you through the good and bad times. You're going to sit here and tell me that's not the female fantasy too? Is this not the basic
I couldn't tell you.
female fantasy? Is this not the knight in shining armor coming to rescue you and falling in love with you? Why on earth are so many women so mad at this?
No. Women are not allowed to depend on a knight in shining armor. They have to be strong and independent and financially secure. And then they are a strong and independent woman, right? They definitely are not just a regular adult, right, guys?
Are men now the hopeless romantics? Are men now the ones yearning
always
for
have
a
been.
fairy tale romance?
Kind of.
Is this why all the Disney remakes are like, she's not gonna be saved by the prince, she's a strong, independent woman? Meanwhile, men still want to be the prince, men still want to be the knight in shining armor. Men are like, I will save you from your monotonous 9-to-5 job. I will give you a house and babies. And women are like, no, I must be an actuarial consultant. Be gone, vile misogynist. Is that what is occurring here? Also, that aside, there literally is a gender-swapped version of this story called Perfect World. It is a manga. Mango?
Who knows?
No, do not come for me, weebs. Men will statistically leave their wives and partners the moment they find out they're disabled or have a life-threatening condition. You're right, it is a fantasy. Actually, that study was debunked by the authors themselves, who admitted they did the math wrong. It's actually not much higher, but then again, even if it was...
Okay, I've got to disagree with her on this just a little bit. So I believe it was in 2023, I think, but a study was conducted on partners who find out that their partner is diagnosed with like some kind of a terminal illness like cancer, right? And it was found that on average, guys tend to leave the wife a lot more than the wife tends to leave the husband. And I think a reason for this is girls do tend to gravitate towards like caretaker roles in society, and guys don't. So I think that plays a part. But if we're just talking strictly about the concept itself, I don't think it's bad to assume that the same thing could apply to a permanent disability. Like, I do think it probably still is higher when guys find out the girl is disabled. But again, I don't think it's like a 2% to a fucking a 75%. I think it's probably like a 2% to a 10%, right? But again, this is just an assumption based off of studies done on a terminal illness in like 2023 or something.
And it happens. I've seen it happen to people. It's terrible. Marriage should be through sickness and through health.
That's true.
But that's not really the point here. And the fact that so many people are focusing on the wheelchair part of this just proves that they just don't get it. The ones of pure mind and pure soul get it. But these fucking semen demons out here, they don't get it. But not all semen demons.
The amount of people in comments who just don't get that men want a cute, loving girlfriend is beyond me. They call them creeps for wanting actual love and not a girl boss who only wants your money.
Ah, thank you. A sane person. Hopefully the replies aren't full
Yeah,
of people
here
calling
comes
her
the
a
comments.
pick-me.
Pick me alert. Least obvious pick me. Me, pick me please. Hope he picks you, sis. Pick me, pick me, pick me.
That's right,
An
guys.
incel
That's right, guys. Anytime a girl tries to defend a guy, pick me. Pick me. Yeah. You aren't allowed to defend guys anymore. It's not wrong. You have to be against guys. You have to hate men. You have to call them incels, rapists, freaks, creeps. And if you don't, you're a pick me. Yeah.
could have written this. Fuck. Why are so many VTubers either pygmies or racist?
You mean why do so many female VTubers disagree with you? Why so many aren't towing the mainstream liberal
Half of them are
feminist
guys.
NPC line?
To be fair.
Because they can. See, the most powerful weapon women have against other women is social ostracization. You don't want to be seen as a pick-me or a racist, so you keep your mouth shut in order to survive in female social circles. But in the cases of VTubers, virtual YouTubers, they're basically anonymous. They can say anything they want. They're basically wearing a mask. They're free from the chains of the eternal HR Longhouse. But apparently, even being anonymous online does not save them, because they still get doxxed for simply not hating men. Lovely. Maybe I should save this rant for a different video someday. Moving on.
Men are why we
Monster.
can't have nice things, by the way.
First of all, men
really?
make all the things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Most things that girls have that they enjoy, it was made by guys. Like, most things are made by guys. Even things that help girls, like in a general sense, was still made by a guy. To my understanding, tampons and period pads were made by men to help women. Wow, crazy, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Also, I just realized it was a man saying that. It was a whole ass man saying men are why we can't have nice things.
Because he wants to virtue
I
signal
don't
to these
deserve
women.
This trophy. This is for you, sir. This is for you.
Yeah.
I am not worthy. Listen, I make women jokes. I'm very critical of feminism and propaganda aimed at women. But you will never catch me in a million years saying some shit like women are why we can't have nice things. I have a mom. I have female family members. I have female friends. Maybe one day I'll have a daughter. Women make the world a beautiful place, and like men, can be flawed and deserve criticism.
Oh, yeah,
like
sure.
anyone else. But there's something genuinely so cucked about people who put down their own gender or race. Oh god, race. Self-hating white people.
Please don't talk about...
Don't get me started on self-hating white people. White people are so evil. I hate being white. White people can't dance. White people food is so gross. You're not getting into Wakanda, bro.
Keep in mind, in almost all cases of people who say all white people are racist and we don't deserve to have good things because we are a part of colonialism. In almost all cases, it's a white woman. Yeah. Almost all cases. You know why that happens? Because they're Karens. It's always fucking Karens. White Karens. They are the worst people in society by far.
You're not getting invited to the cookout. Enough. But yeah, women were not the only ones who had a problem with this. There were a lot of men who didn't quite relate to this being the average male fantasy.
Yeah,
It's
because
fine
the
to love
virtue
the
signalers.
disabled. I didn't need to remind you that. But you glorify it? This anime is certainly Marxist propaganda. The
What's it
movie is
got to do
about
with
him taking a job
Marxist?
as her caretaker, and when he learns of her dreams, he makes it his mission to help her dreams come true. So it is Marxist propaganda to help a disabled person pursue their dreams? Yeah, it's woven in. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Marxism.
I've got a bit of a critique about the video. I really wish she would show the names of these people. And it isn't to harass them. It isn't for anything like that. I just want to see the profile picture in the very least. I just want to see the profile picture and the bio. Just show me the profile picture and the bio. I guarantee most of these are furries, fat people, Karens, millennials. And in the bio is every flag in the world except the country that they're from. If they're in the UK or the US, at least. Queers for Palestine, right, guys?
Is when girl in wheelchair. I love this. Empathy is the target of propaganda. Every piece of media that makes you feel empathy is communism. Political brain rot. If you're at the point where you see this and you're thinking of communism, you need to log off. You are unwell.
With Virgin Media, get smooth, lightning fast M125 broadband for under 20.
I'm sorry, but when I reproduce, I don't want a high probability of my offspring being mentally or physically retarded. We need a better class of incels whose bar is higher than the retarded.
She's not retarded, she has a spinal injury that's not genetic. Also, what is this LARP? I love how everyone is just kind of having like a normal conversation about this clip, and this guy just comes out of nowhere like, I would never put my pure white seed in such a vile creature. Like, you absolutely know this guy has a non-white girlfriend. They all do, all these like, I hate white people women always have white boyfriends. All these, I hate non-white people boys always have non-white girlfriends. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it too many times. I guarantee you when this man logs off of his Black Sun Roman statue Twitter account, he's clapping Latina booty cheeks.
My fantasy is not being a simp, but okay.
Fellas, is it simping to love a woman?
Nah,
Yes.
This is not the male fantasy. That man is a beta male. If she wasn't in a wheelchair, she would leave him for Chad.
Fellas, is it beta to love a woman?
This is not my fantasy. This is some gay shit, to be honest.
Fellas, is it gay to love a woman?
What no pussy
Yes.
does to a motherfucker.
Brother, I've seen what pussy does to a motherfucker.
Yeah, it's
far
worse.
worse.
Yeah.
The average male fantasy is taking care of their
dangerous.
crippled wife. I don't think I've ever had that fantasy before. I thought it was gonna be about going on
this
some
still a
quest to
guy?
kill the dragon to win the princess or something.
It is. That is the average male fantasy. But there are no dragons to slay. There are no princesses to save. But there is that little old lady in the grocery store who can't quite reach that top shelf.
That's
There's
true.
that
I've been
heavy
in this
boxy, pretty girl
situation
you work with
before.
Can't quite lift herself.
I felt like
There's that
a
jar of tomato sauce your
king.
wife can't quite open. There's that Lego
No,
set
that I
your little
can't.
son can't quite put together himself. Or there is this paraplegic girl who wants to see the ocean. This is the Princess and the Dragon story. And despite what many are told, men do have a lot of love to give. And they want some kind of excuse or mechanism to show that love. In a world where men expressing themselves is either seen as toxic or gay. And one way of expressing that love is solving problems. Men fucking love solving problems.
That's true to
I
an
don't know what
extent,
it is.
sure.
They also love reading Wikipedia articles. The amount of times I walked over and my husband is reading a random fucking
Maybe
Wikipedia
if you're 40.
article about like the
I don't like
world's
reading that
tallest
shit.
buildings or like a random battle in World War II. I didn't know if this was autism or what, but apparently it's a man thing. Anyway, yes, men love solving problems. And in a world that makes them feel useless, makes them feel like they have no purpose, men desperately feel like they need to prove their worth. They are desperately looking for a purpose in life. So it is not at all shocking to me that the modern young man is seeing a clip like this and longing for this. A lot of modern men don't have a chance to prove themselves, to make something of their lives. They don't have a chance to provide anything for anyone because they don't have anything to provide and they don't have anyone. They are doing everything their grandfathers did, but seeing none of the results. They're lost. What can they provide? And as I said earlier, her being in a wheelchair
I beat
is
Dark
the
Souls 3 at
protector and
level
provider
1. Is that
instinct
impressive,
taken to
ladies?
a extreme. And yes, it is a fantasy, considering if you ask anyone who's actually in a wheelchair, they know it's not all butterflies and rainbows, and they know that it's hard on relationships. It can be
Yeah, of course
difficult
it
on their
is.
partner. But just like in the movie, it's not shown as butterflies and rainbows. Josie feels like a burden. But towards the end of the movie, the guy takes on that burden. not because he gets something in return, but because it's his duty, because it makes her happy, which makes him happy in return. Loyalty, duty, virtue, acts of service, big or small, men live for that shit. And yes, these are stereotypes, not everyone fits into these boxes, blah 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 blah, but for the most part, it's true. When many men look at this relationship, that is what they see. And a lot of modern women are looking at this relationship and being disgusted because, in a way, it's the complete inverse of the strong, independent woman they've been sold. They've been told they need to be. The modern woman crafted by modern Disney for modern audiences. Unlike the Hollywood-crafted modern woman, this woman does need her man. She is not strong and she's not independent, at least physically. This doesn't mean she's like an empty vessel with no thoughts or freedom.
It does,
in
according
fact, in the
to
movie, Josie
some
does
of the Twitter
roll away
ladies.
from him a few times.
Sorry,
it is a fantasy
women.
not because of a
Not ladies.
power
You weren't allowed to say that
imbalance, but
anymore.
because the man has a tangible purpose, and the woman is willingly and lovingly letting him fulfill that purpose.
Because I can depend on you. I know that if I ever feel frightened, I can just reach out to you.
Men simply want something good to die for, to make it beautiful to live. This manifests in a lot of ways, but the most common is having a loving partner and or a family. Something unobtainable to many people nowadays. So yes, literally one of the most normal things ever is becoming a fantasy. Sad. Also, men will deny this, but they absolutely have a biological clock. It may not hit in your teens or your 20s,
What do you
but
mean?
one day you're going to have a dream. You have a little daughter making you pancakes with your wife in the morning, and you're not going to be able to get it out of your head. And that is the male biological clock. Everything you do, the money you make working that grating 9-to-5 job, it will all be for something bigger and more important than yourself one day. You will come home to a warm and happy home, greeted by people who care about you, and love you, and rely on you.
Yeah, about
and
that.
everything will make sense then.
I'm
Until
not
then, you'll just be on the
exactly,
internet,
attractive.
being called a misogynist. For wanting
Exactly.
something bigger and more important than
That's
yourself.
more like me.
For wanting something beautiful and normal. And that
Dark Souls
is
4.
the average male fantasy. That and 3 hot chicks at once. Hell yeah,
There we
brother.
go.
Haha, you know what I'm saying? So that was that little video. Men in the comments, let me know. Am I correct? Is that the average male fantasy? Or is it not that deep? Men and women in the comments, what is your fantasy?
All right, so she came back to this point, so I want to bring up this point as well. I did bring it up a bit earlier, but I think there's definitely a difference in fantasy depending on age, right? So like a 23-year-old is going to have a different fantasy to a 33-year-old, right? So like speaking as a 23-year-old, a fantasy is like hot girl, big boobs, right? But if you're 33, I think it definitely fits closer to what she says. Come home from work to your wife and child cooking pancakes. Sure. Yeah, sure. And if you're 23 and you've got a wife and child, then you probably also fit closer to this as well. But I think for average 20, 23, 25-year-olds, it's just something pretty basic like hot girl, big boobs. I don't know. But I do think it's become a bit more extreme now to where if we also separate what people today are constantly consuming, right? So like, if you've been watching porn for like 10 years, you're turned on now by completely different things than you was 10 years ago, right? And because of this, we've seen a rise in very weird things like furry, pagan, CBT, and torture, things of this sort, right? Of this sort. And I think this is a product of things like constantly consuming porn over and over again. And this does affect your fantasy, right? Now, this does happen to me occasionally, and I'm not talking about like the fucking furry and pagan, etc. I just mean sometimes I'm turned on by a different kind of thing, right? So like instead of boobs, it's ass or something, right? But every single time, I always come back to my senses, a post not clarity, and I go back to to default settings, big boobs. But that's just the way I am. So I think she is right, but I think it's better to contextualize it by splitting up groups, like age and the things that you watch on a daily basis. But yeah, sure, I do think she's right. Pretty much entirely right in this.
And no, I don't mean that. I don't want to hear about how you want to be crushed by a 12-foot futa. That is
What?
between you and God,
Futa?
not you and ShoeOnHead. I mean, what is your ultimate...
For those who don't know, now, I don't know how I know this. A futa is a girl who's got a dick. And I don't mean trans. I mean like an actual girl who has... I think she's got both, actually. She's got a dick and a pussy, I think. But yeah.
dream? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want a nice big family one day? Do you want to own a farm? Do you want to live in a shed in the woods and make pipe bombs? Let me know in the comments and I will see you soon with a new video.
Bye-bye. Yeah. So, as a 23-year-old guy, again, I've just got a basic fantasy. Hot girl, big tits. That's it. That's it. I'm just a basic guy. But as I get older, I'm sure by the time I get to 30, I'm going to be closer to what she's talking about here. I think it's going to happen, sure. But right now, I'm very basic. Very basic. Hi, boys. So this was made by ShoeOnHead. Very good content creator. Very good.